interrupting your ecstatic chanting, I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy names which are to be avoided, written by Srila Vyasadeva in the Padma Purana. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruity activities, karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. Do not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank you everyone for joining the Bhakti Sanga conference. Let us move to our next section, Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the class this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Krishna. राधा प्यारी माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रीति दासी प्रमशाल। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, please accept my accept all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। हरे
Hare Krishna, Radha Pyari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gaurangi Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gaurangi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Pyari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is Sundarangi Radha Devi Dasi from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Runda Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
So happy to see you after a long time.
Yeah, I'm too, Mataji. After a long time, I'm hearing your voice.
Hare Krishna, this is Kishori Dasi from Philadelphia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kishori Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
I'll start the recording, Mataji. Let's finish the introduction of the speaker.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Bhakti Sanga conference call. Today we are fortunate to have her Grace Madhavi Gaurangi Mataji to enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 14th chapter, verse 3 to 4 onwards. First, I would like to hand over call to Nityananda Prabhuji for a brief introduction of Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please take care of call, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Here's a brief introduction for our today's speaker, Her Grace Madhavi Gaurangi Devi Dasi. Mataji started practicing Bhakti at the young age of 9 years when she started visiting the ISKCON Punjabi Bagh temple in central New Delhi, India. She received initiation from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in 2015 in Gita Nagari. She holds a Bhakti Shastri degree from ISKCON Chowpatty. Currently, she is serving in her local ISKCON Philadelphia temple as a preacher where she regularly gives Srimad Bhagavatam classes and as well as Sunday feast classes. Also, she is preaching on different ISKCON online forums throughout the world. Academically, she holds a degree in MBA Finance from ICFAI University, India. Professionally, she worked as a manager for 5 years in DLF, India, and also worked for Vanguard in Malvern, PA for 4 years. She has been married in the family of Srila Prabhupada disciples. Her husband is Chaitanya Chandra Das, who is the disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. She has two sons, Keshav Das and Madhav Chandra. We are glad to have our association today in this forum. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, Prabhuji, for brief introduction. Very nice introduction, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to Bhakti Sanga Conference, Mataji. I would like to hand over call to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for giving such a warm welcome and such a nice introduction. This is my first time on this call this morning, but I am very happy and delighted to be all of you. And I really truly believe that by mercy of Krishna and his devotees, this Sanga, Sadhu Sanga we call it, we get together and glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's the essence of human life. So without any delay, just let's jump into the Mangala Charan, and then we will start with our today's discussion. Today's verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So I'm not sure if the verse and the translation is going to be displayed on the screen, but today's verse is Canto 7, Chapter 14, verse number 3 to 4. Mataji, will it be possible to display the verse on the screen?
Yes, Mataji. Vinta Gandarvika Mataji will share the screen.
Okay,
Mataji.
thank you. Let me just start reading the Sanskrit, and I'm going to read translation and a part of purport because this purport is really big today. So, Shravanam Bhagavato Bhikshanam Avatara Katamritam Shraddhano Yatha Kalam Upasanta Janavrataha Satsangan Chandrakak Sangam Atma Jayatma Jatishu Vimunchehe Muchyamanishu Swayam Swapnavad Utihida. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A Gharastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. Purport. The Krishna Consciousness movement has been established to give Gharasthas all over the world an opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita specifically. The process, as described in many ways, is one of hearing and chanting Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Everyone, especially the Grasthas who are mudhadi, ignorant about the goal of life, should be given opportunities to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing, by attending lectures in the different centers of the Krishna conscious movement, where topics of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are discussed, they will be purified of their sinful inclination for constant indulgence in illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, which have all become prominent in modern days. Thus, they can be raised to the status of light. Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Simply by joining the Kirtana, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by hearing about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, one must be purified, especially if he also takes prasada. This is all going in the Krishna conscious movement. Another specific description here is Shrinvan Bhagavato Bhikshanam Avatara Kathamritam. It is not that because one has once finished Bhagavad Gita, he should not hear it again. The word Abhikshanam is very important. We should hear again and again. There is no question of stopping, even if one has read these topics many times. He should go on reading again and again because Bhagavad Katha, the words spoken by Krishna and spoken by Krishna's devotees about Krishna, are Amritam nectar. The more one drinks this Amritam, the more he advances in his eternal life. Maybe next one also. The human form of life is meant for liberation, but unfortunately, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, every day the Gharasthas are working hard like asses. Early in the morning, they rise and travel even 100 miles away to earn bread, especially in the Western countries. I have seen that people awaken at 5 o'clock to go to offices and factories to earn their livelihood. People in Calcutta and Bombay also do this every day. They work very hard in the office or factory, and again they spend 3 or 4 hours in transportation returning home. Then they retire at 10 o'clock and again rise early in the morning to go to their offices and factories. This kind of hard labor is described in the Shastras as the life of pigs and stool eaters. Nayanam deho deha bhajam narloke kshata kashtan kaman arhate vid bhunjam ye. Of all living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. Bhagavatam 5.5.1. One must find some time for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. This is Vedic culture. One should work 8 hours at the most to earn his livelihood, and either in the afternoon or in the evening, a householder should associate with the devotees to hear about the incarnation of Krishna and his activities, and thus be gradually liberated from the clutches of Maya. However, instead of finding time to hear about Krishna, the householders, after working hard in offices and factories, find time to go to a restaurant or a club where instead of hearing about Krishna and his activities, they are very much pleased to hear about the political activities of demons and non-devotees and to enjoy sex, wine, women, and meat, and in this way waste their time. This is not Gharastha life, but demonic life. The Krishna conscious movement, however, with its centers all over the world, gives such fallen and condemned person an opportunity to hear about Krishna. Okay. So,
Mataji, can we read and finish it off? Usually we
okay.
don't skip any
Okay.
lines from Prabhupada
Okay,
proper.
that's fine.
Yeah.
In our dream, we form a society of friendship and love. And when we awaken, we see that it has ceased to exist. Similarly, one's gross society, family, and love are also a dream, and this dream will be over as soon as one dies. Therefore, whether one is dreaming in a subtle way or a gross way, these dreams are all false and temporary. One's real business is to understand that one is soul, aham brahmasmi, and that his activities should there be different. Then one can be very happy. Brahma bhuta prasanna atma na sochati na kankshati samha sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labhate param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards all living entities. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One who is engaged in devotional service can very easily be liberated from the dream of materialistic life. Now, prayers to our teachers who has given us this knowledge and made everything possible in this world for us. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashilakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine namaste saraswate deve gauravani pracharine nirvishesha shunyavadi paschatya deshitarine jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha, Kripa Sindhuva Evacha, Patita Nama Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. Before starting the discussion, I would like to take blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak some substance today. So before starting the discussion, I would like to just glorify Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran because it's very important that whatever we are reading, we should be knowing the importance of that subject matter because otherwise it becomes just like a routine. So for my clarification, I would always like to just glorify Srimad Bhagavatam before going into the verse directly. So Srimad Bhagavatam is as glorious as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself. Sri Krishna, he took incarnation as Grantha Avatar in the form of this book, Srimad Bhagavatam, so that even the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to the different limbs of the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is glorified even by Narada Muni, by Bhrigu, by Vedavyas, who has written this Srimad Bhagavatam in the maturity of his transcendental knowledge. So this Srimad Bhagavatam even gave satisfaction to the heart of who has divided one Veda into different Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Itihasas, and whatnot. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is here to shed some light on the misdirected and unfortunate people of Kali Yuga. Therefore, it's very important to relish whatever we are hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. We know that devotional service is the constitutional nature of every living entity. But somehow or the other, this living entity is being swayed by the waves of material energy each and every day. So whenever this living entity gets the birth of human form, then this living entity carries a very high responsibility, because in this birth, there is an opportunity for us to liberate ourselves from this cycle of birth and death. So, my dear friends, we should always try to indulge totally ourselves in the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I know that all of you, every morning, this time, just get together and read Srimad Bhagavatam, which is so auspicious for the life of a devotee and in human society in general. So with this, let's just move on to Canto 7, and specifically this chapter 14. So we have seen that in chapter 11, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he asked questions from Narada Muni. After Narada Muni explained Maharaj Yudhishthir about Prahlad Maharaj, about the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, Maharaj Yudhishthir asked how to get that devotional service which Prahlad Maharaj had, how we should cultivate that in our human form. And in reply to that, Narad Muni started by Varnashram Dharma. And in chapter 12, chapter 13, Narad Muni has already explained the responsibility of 3 renunciates class of Varnashram Dharma: Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. So what is this dharma? Dharma just does not mean purpose. So dharma has various definitions. It just does not mean purpose. It just does not mean the main duties of life. But dharma actually means the best way to live. And Varnashram Dharma is planned by the Lord himself. We know that in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Krishna says, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. That according to the qualities, guna, according to the qualities and according to one's own karma, these 4 divisions are there: Varna and Ashrama. So what are the 4 Varnas? 4 Varnas. 4 Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And what are the 4 ashramas? Brahmachari ashram, Grahasth ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. So why we have this system? We have this system because it helps for social organization, for social integration, but more than that, and more importantly than that, it is meant for ultimate spiritual upliftment of the living entity. So, and it is not based on birth, because later on, the caste system became very prevalent in India, and people started to destroy the main purpose behind that, just because they started to think that it is only on the basis of birth. But Krishna himself has mentioned that it is directly on the basis of your qualities and your activities. So sometimes people say that I am in Grahastha ashrama, and my duty is to taking care of my family, and that is my worship to God. So Varnashrama Dharma explained more about it, that it is not just that by doing your job and taking care of your family, that's it. No. And that's not the karma yoga. The karma yoga is if you do your job, you take care of your family, and you consciously then dedicate it and connect it and integrate it with God or Krishna. That is called karma yoga. Otherwise, it is just a karma. Therefore, the goal of Varnashram Dharma is to connect everything, that you engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. So what happened by following the Varnashram Dharma? Varnashram Dharma leads us to detachment. And this vairagya or this detachment leads us to yoga or connection with the Supreme. Because when there is a detachment, then at the simultaneously we have to attach ourselves with something. And that attachment. So first there is a ladder which has been described in Bhagavad Gita. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, and then Bhakti yoga. Dhyana yoga is also there, but I'm just taking this. So from Karma yoga, when we start attaching ourselves, Jnana yoga and then Bhakti yoga, which is considered to be the highest. So even Srila Prabhupada has said that Varnashram Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life and to get self-realization. And that's why it's very important that when we get human form of life, we should understand our duties and responsibilities and work according to that. And that's what Narad Muni explained in Ideal Family Life, the chapter which we are taking today. Narad Muni is explaining Yudhishthir Maharaj. And in this particular verse, which we are reading today, verse 3 and 4, there are two verses. A Gharastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect, he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from the affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So that's why Varnashram Dharma is given to those people for the benefit of those human society who are not yet elevated and yet not eligible to achieve the Lord through pure devotional service. And very important point which has been raised by Narad Muni in this particular shloka, in these two particular shlokas, Narad Muni is saying that how much important hearing is. And hearing, what is the meaning, what we call hearing in Sanskrit? Shravanam. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives a very particular explanation in his Tathya about Shravana. He says that word Shravana refers to oral reception. Oral reception of the holy name or descriptions of Lord's pastime, forms, qualities, entourage, paraphernalia as given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all authorized scriptures. And if we see in Prahlad Maharaj's famous shloka, Shravanam Kirtanam, the first limb of bhakti is Shravanam. Because Shravanam, from Shravanam, everything just start. But Shravanam or hearing what? Because there are so many things to hear in this material world, right? And we are giving our ear to so many things. Political issues, about general affair and news of every kind, wars, everything we are hearing. But even Srila Prabhupada, he said, hearing means submissive oral reception, right? So what is submissive oral reception? That hearing the authorized scriptures with submissiveness, eagerness, and with rapt attention. That's the meaning of Shravanam. And Shravanam is very, very important in the life of a living entity, be it a lower species or be it a higher species, be it a human being. And this Shravanam, when we come into human form of life, becomes even more important, because Shravanam is the process through which anyone can just surpass the circle of birth and death. Now let's just try to just learn about Shravanam through this simple mundane process, let's just say, right? So we see that, I don't know here, but in India, there was a very famous proverb that, we should speak less and hear more. That's the reason why we have one mouth and two ears, which means that we should hear more and speak less. And a person who follows this can become eligible to grasp, absorb more and more knowledge. Even if we see our children, they go to school, and how they learn alphabets, they learn by hearing, right? Because there is a sound connected to each and every letter. For example, with A, with B, B, with C, K. So if I write cat and I ask a child to read, how he's going to read? If he has heard the sound vibration from his teacher, cat, like that. So in short, our reading is also an abstract of hearing. So hearing is that important, even into our day-to-day life. Hearing is very, very important. Everybody learn languages. Even the little child learn language by reading. I mean, by hearing. First they hear and then they read. So this sound is very, very important. This sound is the main reason of the creation of the world also. In Canto 2nd and in Canto 3rd, when we read about the process of creation, we must have learned that sound was the first subtle element which came, right? Sound was the first subtle element. And then we saw that from sound, how ether came, and from ether, how touch comes. So every gross element has a subtle element behind it. And sound is the first element which comes. So if we see hearing or this sound is the process of attaining knowledge. We can see that we have 5 knowledge acquiring senses and we have 5 working senses. So all the senses are very, very important because every sense is serving some purpose in our life. But hearing, our ear, they are the most important sense organ, right? These are called Gyanendriya, through which we attain knowledge, acquire knowledge. Although all the senses are equally important, but these ears are the most important one. So that's why I'm just giving you the importance of hearing, that how even in our normal life, day-to-day life, hearing is important. There was one political activist by the name Helen Keller in America years and years ago. She was deaf and as well as she was blind too. And she mentioned that deafness is the more is a more problematic situation than seeing. I mean, the ears are the most important, because with ears you can hear and do so many things. We can also see, and we can also refer that in our Vedic history, there are Vaishnavas who were blind and still they composed and still they were able to perform bhakti very nicely. Like Bilva Mangala Thakur, Surdas, and but the thing is, obviously, Lord Krishna, he was directing both of them through inside. But just for an example, that how much even ears are more important than the eyes. So that's how. And what to hear? It's the authoritative scriptures which we hear. It is the authoritative scriptures. Now, at the end of Vedanta Sutra, there is a very little shloka which is called Anuvrita Shabdat. Anavrita Shabdat. That means that is the Shabda, or that is the only word which is supposed to we hear. Now, we know that, when there is a satellite, when we send satellite into the space, we use a satellite should be sent with certain velocity in order for that satellite to cross the circle of the influence of the earth, and thus how that satellite, when just sent with a great velocity, cross the circle of gravitational force and thus establish into the space, right? If you send it with certain velocity. So similarly, if we hear from authoritative scripture, that sound vibration has that velocity which can push our soul to just cross this material universe. So that's very important. That's the sound vibration from authoritative scriptures, not the sound of here and there. That means not any garbage in or any garbage out. In Canto 2nd, Shukdev Goswami very nicely, he pointed out to Parikshit Maharaj the difference between Grahamedi and Gharastha. He said, Shrotvayani Rajendra Nirnam Shanti Sahatsara Apasyatam Atma Tattvam Griheshu Grahamedisha. Griheshu Grahamedinam. That what is the difference between one who is in the Gharastha ashrama and a person who is into this Grahamedi? The only difference is Grahamedi wants to enjoy his own senses. But Grihastha ashrama, as I said in the starting of the class, that ashrama means a place for spiritual cultivation. So those who are in the Grihastha ashrama, they are trying to cultivate themselves into spiritual life, because that's the main purpose of Varnashram Dharma, as already explained. But on the contrary, Grahamedis, they have time and energy to hear and think about everything but about the Lord, right? They say that we don't have time to hear about the Supreme Person or about Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. We are so busy, right? It's like when somebody is sick, if a person is sick and we say, why don't you go to the doctor and take medicine? And he say, I am very sick, I don't have time to go. This is like that, right? If there is a situation, if a person is going into into a rainy weather, and he is just getting himself wet in the intense rain, and somebody asks him, why don't you just buy an umbrella from a nearby shop? And he says, I don't have time to buy an umbrella because I have to rush, I have to go. So in both the situations, in both the examples, we see that this is sheer foolishness, right? That, if we take one thing, then it is going to prevent the consequences of other. So similarly, if we try to devote our time and energy in learning about the Supreme Lord, in reviving our connection with the Supreme Lord after understanding the relationship with Him, then it's going to take us away from the miseries of three material miseries, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adhyatma miseries of life. But we don't have time. And that's what is given in the purport, that we don't have time for that philosophical understanding to hear the topics of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is so glorious that it describes Sambandha Jnana, relationship with the Supreme, Prayojana, the goal where we had to reach, and also it is giving us Abhideya. Jiva Goswami has described in his Tattva Sandarbha that Srimad Bhagavatam describes all the three Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the Vaishnavas of Varanasi, he explained that Srimad Bhagavatam is Pramanam Amalam. It's the ultimate authority, and it provides both the three important tattvas, which is very important to survive for human beings. So that's very important to hear. And in Canto 2nd, in the starting chapters, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami that who are those people who don't have interest in hearing about the Supreme Lord? Because Supreme Lord is the one who can give anything to anybody. And then Parikshit Maharaj explained that it's the taste, and there are people who don't have interest in hearing about the Supreme Lord. And he also have given the solution for this, that how we can develop the taste. We can develop the taste by getting association with the devotees or with the like-minded people, not like-minded people, with those people who are in this process of associating and reciting Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's how it's very important. And it is an acquired taste, right? Like, some vegetables are there which we might not like, but they are good for us. So how to develop taste for that? By eating it every day, right? Little bit. So that's how we acquire or develop taste. So similarly, for Srimad Bhagavatam, now in this assembly, we all have the taste, I'm sure. And that's why we all are sitting here every morning. But for those people who find it difficult to hear the topics of the Lord, it's very important to hear, to shravan for little bit daily, every day, so that there is the taste can be acquired, because ultimately it is very good for the ultimate perfection of life. And there is an example, there is a story which I just remember of a thief. Once a thief, he wanted to steal something, and with the purpose of that, he just sat in the assembly of the devotees where Srimad Bhagavatam was going on. And the speaker was describing about the qualities, beautiful features of Lord Krishna. So first of all, this thief, he was not very attentive. He was looking here and there to steal something from from a wealthy participant. But suddenly his attention his attention got onto the points of what the speaker was speaking, right? And the speaker was speaking about, as I said, that there is a boy in Vrindavan who is wheatish color, who is blackish color, and he has kundal in his ears, and he is very beautiful. His anklets are very beautiful. So he started hearing about him, about Krishna. And then he started hearing about Krishna, and then he thought to himself, oh, this boy must be having lot of wealth. That's why he decorated himself in such a profound way. And after hearing from that assembly, this thief, he just left that place and he started searching for Vrindavan. And somehow or the other, he reached Vrindavan. And there he found that boy. Sorry, he was asking for that boy. Who is that boy? Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And some people said, oh, he's there or he's where Krishna's temple was there. And this thief, he was looking and he found one boy. And this boy was blackish color. And the the way he was dressed was exactly the same the person was describing in the katha. So he asked, are you Krishna? Then he said, yes, I am Krishna. Then he became very happy. He said, this is the time to just take all his ornaments. So he started asking for his ornaments, but the boy said, no, my mother decorated me. She will be very upset if I give you my ornaments. So this thief, he tried to connect with Krishna or with this boy every day. And every day this boy used to refuse. But with the constant association with this boy, this thief had a change of heart, and he started liking the smile of the boy and so many other things. And after some times, this thief found that there is no more person who is coming to meet with him. And then he started asking, there is a boy with black color. He used to come and meet me. He's Krishna. He's Krishna. And everyone said, yes, he's Krishna. He's in the temple. He is in the deity form. And this thief, he was perplexed. And this thief became devotee. His heart has completely changed from before. And senior Vaishnavas describe that this thief became a very, very exalted devotee of the Lord. And for the rest of his life, he just lived in Sri Vrindavan Dham and just dedicated his entire life for the worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's the effect of hearing. In Garuda Purana, which is one of the important Puranas, it says that all the living entities, all the jivas, they are sleeping in the lap of Maya, just like a person sleeps after a snake bite. So this Maya is just like a snake bite. So in the ancient history, in previous days, what used to do when there was a snake bite? They used to recite some mantras. They used to chant some mantras. Nowadays, there are medicines available, but at that time, they used to recite some mantras. And with the power of mantras, the person can get cured, but only by hearing. So similarly, we all are just sleeping. We all are just sleeping with the snake bite of Maya. And what happened when we sleep? All the senses, they are basically practically unconscious, right? Except from one indriya, and that indriya or that sense organ is ear, right? We can hear, and that's why we can wake up, right? Our hearing can make us wake up. Even in this mundane life. So what about that Shravanam, that hearing, which can actually wake us up and take us up from this world to that world, which is called spiritual world, or our ultimate destination, or our own home. So whatever so that's the importance of hearing. But as I said, hearing does not mean hearing anything. Shravanam means hearing the authoritative scriptures from the authoritative personality. A person who is coming from the disciplic succession, who is giving us exactly the same thing which has been given to him from his spiritual master. And who can become a spiritual master? A Kshotriya Brahmanishta devotee. A Kshotriya means who has heard himself, and also who has nishtha or faith in the Supreme Person, Supreme Lord Krishna himself. That person can become spiritual master, who is coming into the parampara or into the disciplic succession. These days, especially in modern days, also it's given, there is a passion or a business to just start our own thing and claim it that we are very authentic. So we have to be very, very careful, because human birth comes after such a long time, and on top of that, we are mandamateya. We don't have enough mandamateya. We are mudhas. We don't have enough intelligence to understand. And on top of that, we are mandbhagaya, that we are so unfortunate that we just bump ourselves into cheating gurus. So it's very important to understand that yes, what we are hearing, that is coming from parampara, that is coming from a sampradaya which is very authentic. And that's how the jnana or the information which we are collecting is from the right source. As we all know that there are three pramanas or evidences which are given to us in order to gain knowledge. Hearing is important, that we have concluded, but there are three pramanas or three evidences through which we can hear. First is pratyaksha pramana. That means direct perception. Whatever we are seeing, we can believe on that, right? But because of our imperfect senses, we cannot attain spiritual knowledge, because our senses cannot see which is beyond our experiences. And this spiritual knowledge is beyond our experience. So we have to go on to other pramana. And the other pramana is Anuman pramana. What is Anuman pramana? It is experimental knowledge. So we do this is science, experiment, that again and again the same result is coming. So we believe that this is how it happens in given circumstance. But again, because we are not perfect, so we cannot just rely only on Anuman pramana. So there is the third and the most authentic pramana, which is called Shabda pramana, or listening from the Vedic authority. The word Shabda means the word, or in Sanskrit we call it authority from Vedas, the words from the Vedas. So this third Shabda pramana, if can get assisted by Pratyaksha pramana and Anumana pramana, then this Shabda pramana which we hear is the only way to understand and gather the spiritual knowledge. So that's the another point. What to hear and where to hear. So what to hear we covered. Where to hear we covered. Now I'm going to cover how to hear. How to hear. Because hearing is very important and is a very important ingredient in a life of a devotee, or specifically when we are in Grihastha ashrama. Although hearing is important in every ashram, and every Varna. It is important in every ashram and in every Varna. But for Grahastha Ashrama, because Grahastha Ashrama carries so many responsibilities, right? So many responsibility Grahastha Ashram has. Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, they have their responsibility of reading and educating the Grahasthas. But at the same time, these Grahasthas have responsibility towards wife, children, towards other members of the society, and also to support other Varnas and other ashramas. Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, this is Grahastha's responsibility to support them, right? So Grahastha ashrama has various kind of responsibilities. But amidst all the responsibility, we should not be forgetting our ultimate purpose. And our ultimate purpose, whether you are a Grahastha, whether you are a Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, or whether you are whatever, it's very important that we are a human being, and after getting this human birth, understanding of my real identity, that I am the servant of the Lord, no matter in what ashrama and in what varna I am in, I should be only responsible to serve the Supreme Lord. It's my duty, it's my prime duty. And other responsibilities should serve as assistants, right? But these days, usually what happen? Everything we just keep on the priority list, and all these things, all these taking care of house, taking care of children, taking care of everything, we just keep on the higher priority, and then other things like chanting, reading, hearing, that just become assistants. That should not be the case, right? That's why it's given to us by our senior Vaishnavas, by our acharyas, that wake up early in the morning, chant your rounds, read, and then you start your day. Your responsibilities as a worker in your office, or your responsibility as your mother or father or parents or whatnot. So that's the importance, and that's the process of waking up early and giving your prioritized time to the priority things. That's very important. So we have covered what to hear, where to hear, and now I'm going to talk about how to hear, right? One more point before this. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, when he was talking about karma yoga, Arjun kept asking one question: do you want me to work or do you want me to work in devotion? What do you want me to do? Because I'm getting confused. So all other three ashramas, they can, because brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyas, they don't have the responsibility of children and taking care of society members or other ashramas. They can directly jump into the pure devotional service. But for a grahastha ashrama, maybe we cannot renunciate our work, but there should be the spirit of renunciation in our work, right? Spirit of renunciation in our work. And that's what Krishna talked about in Bhagavad Gita also, the spirit of Nishkam Karma Yoga, detachment in whatever we are doing. Detachment does not mean just leaving all your responsibilities and do not work. Detachment means work perfectly in this material world, taking care of everything, but at the same time, devote everything which you are doing in the worship of the Supreme Lord. It's where your consciousness is. Krishna says, Yad karoshi, yad asnasi, yad juhosi dadasi. Whatever you do, whatever you are doing, just give it to me. Just do it for me. That's the spirit of renunciation. So a Grahastha is more than a sannyasi if he is working in the spirit of renunciation by following all the regulative principles and by paying much more attention in hearing and cultivating his spiritual upliftment. Now coming on that most awaiting point of how to hear. So there are 4 categories of listeners who are celebrated as good listeners. And there are 4 categories of listeners who are celebrated as bad listeners. So usually when I go through on this topic, so I know that I am one of the category of bad listener, but just for, we should all know who is how to hear. It's very important. So the first category is Chatak bird, Chatak Pakshi, Chatak bird. So this Pakshi or this bird has a very unique nature, right? This bird, usually this bird sounds like pyong, pyong, like that. That means give me water, right? It keeps calling for water, but there is a special constellation which is called Swasti Nakshatra, and this bird drinks only the water from the raindrops that fall during that constellation. This Chatak bird, right? This Chatak bird. So even if someone try to give this bird Ganges water, then also this bird will not take. This bird just drink only when there is a constellation, swastik constellation. This bird will just take that raindrops from there. So similarly, devotees of this category, they are always eager to hear Krishna Katha, but from the authoritative sources, right? They don't hear from here and there and whatever, whatnot. No, they hear Krishna Katha topics only from the devotees, right? They would prefer dying like Chatak bird, but they just hear Krishna Katha rather than hearing any mundane topic. The second category, these are the best category for birds. The second best is Hansa bird or swan. As we know that Hansa or swan has the ability to separate milk mixed with water, right? Can take the essence. So this kind of category of devotees, when they sit to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, right? They just take the essence. Because, when we present, when we speak, when the speaker is speaking, there are so many things which speaker is covering, right? And he's bringing some kind of mundane topics also in order to give examples in the subject matter. But devotees who are kind Hansa bird or swan like devotees, they just take the essence of the talk and do not go about what the examples or analogies and or the jokes, all these things. They don't take just bother about it. Just take the essence from it. That's called Hansa category. And the third best good listener category of good listener is Shuka or parrot. Now the parrot has the quality of learning words and repeating them in his very sweet voice without altering the meaning or altering anything. So these kind of devotee, they represent an ideal disciple, right? They carry whatever the message has been given to them by the spiritual master very nicely, and in the same way they give it to others, right? Without any deviation and without any alteration. These kind of devotees. Fourth is Meena or fish. Fish. Mean or fish. The devotees in these categories, right? They are always very alert. Like fish, never, this fish has always the eyes of fish are always open, right? And when we take out fish from the water, fish cannot survive. So similarly, devotees in this category, they always are very alert in hearing Krishna Katha, and Krishna Katha is kind of their life. When they don't hear Bhagavatam class, they don't hear Sunday feast class, they become so restless. So in summary, the 4 qualities of top category of listeners are Chataka Birda, who are hankering for Krishna Katha, like a Chatak Birda, and then Hansa Birda, who Hansa bird, who has the wisdom to take only the essence, Shuka, who have attentiveness and memorization, and they can repeat Krishna Katha exactly, and fish. They love Krishna Katha just like fish loves the water. Now comes the category of lower categories of listener. Lower categories of listeners, they are also 4 kinds. One is, the first is vrika or wolf. You know, wolf, what kind of sound wolf makes all the time? Ooh, like this, right? So it's very annoying and very scary. So these kinds of listeners, they don't have very much interest in spiritual topics. They just go in the katha, sit in front and talk unnecessarily with other people, or sometimes argue with the speaker. So they fall into this vrika category. Next category of low class listener is burunda bird. And this kind of bird listens to the topics amongst the sages, and it goes and preaches to others, but does not follow himself, right? That is a kind of burunda bird, right? Does not talk your walk, or preaching what we are not following. That's a kind of low class listeners. And the other is vrishbha or bull, right? These kind of people, they just go with their family and friends in a spiritual organization just to enjoy prasadam, right? Like a bull. And they don't have any interest in the spiritual hearing or the topics which which the members of the society are discussing. And the fourth and the last one is Uttara or camel, right? Like camel has the habit of chewing leaves with thorns, right? So camel camel just tastes the blood along with the thorns. So listeners of this category hear the katha, but they get inspired only by the negative characters, negative characters of the katha. Like they get inspired by Duryodhan or Dhritarashtra. Oh, Dhritarashtra was fair on his side, huh? Kamsa, what can he do? He heard that he is going to be dead by the son of his sister. That's why he did that. It's not his fault. So who get inspired by the negative characteristics of katha? Or just take out that Ras Leela portion of Krishna Katha and start commenting on that. So such kind of listeners come under Ustra category or camel category. So what are the 4 lower categories? Wolf, who make unnecessary noise, argues with the speaker. Burunda bird, who are the Burunda birds? Who are just hear and preach, but don't follow themselves. Type of bull, Vrishabha, who go with their family and friends just to eat. And then camel, who just get inspired by the negative characteristic of the story or of the storyline. They get inspired by that. So these are the people who come under the lower category of listeners. So now we have to think about ourselves. We already discussed that hearing is very important. This ear is the primary sense organ through which we can accept, and this sound, we can accept that sound vibration which is transcendental. And this sound vibration can take us beyond this material universe. Like I gave the example of that satellite, which if we can send that satellite with a certain velocity, can cross the gravitational pull of Earth and can settle into the space. So similarly, transcendental sound vibration, that shabda can take us back. And we also discussed that we also discussed that how we are all sleeping in the by the snake bite of Maya. Only hearing can take us back, right? Hearing can wake us. We discussed about a story, and also we discussed about from where should be hearing, and also how should be hearing. That's important. So today's discussion was mainly surrounded around our Varnashram Dharma, and out of all those Varnas and Ashramas, our Grastha Ashram is very, very important, and at the same time, because it's an important human life, and then Grastha Ashrama both make it a ideal arrangement for a living entity to hear more and more about the topics of the Supreme Lord. So with this, I'm going to conclude. And again, I'm very thankful to all of you for giving me this amazing opportunity to speak on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. In case I have said something which is not according to the scriptures and not aligned with whatever we have heard, read, so please excuse me and correct me. And please bless me so that I can again, get your all association of all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji. Such a wonderful, wonderful class. I'm very inspired, Mataji. Without delay, I'm requesting devotees, if anybody have any questions, please go ahead. Thank you so much, Mataji, about the hearing. I was very connected, Mata. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your kind words, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha Mataji, for allowing me to ask the question. Madhavi Gaurangi Mataji, you are fantastically told such good things I'll never have heard. The way you presented from the example, the four types of devotees who are listeners, non-listeners, you really ripped up the whole thing. I'm so grateful. You are really superb class. There's nothing to explain. Every word was listened today's class. 100%. If they follow what you're told, they can go back to God. It's a guarantee. Thank you. Please come again and again. You're awesome, Mataji. Really great. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much, Prabhuji, for your kind words and for your blessings. Please bless me that I can also follow and not become like Burunda bird and just preach and don't follow. Please.
You're already so much blessed and you are really a pure devotee. Radha Krishna Matirastu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Please bless me. Hare Krishna.
Bless me also.
Krishna is blessing everybody. There are so many exalted devotees here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Anyone?
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for coming on the call and giving very beautiful class. We are very grateful to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Please bless me. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev.
Yeah. Radha Mataji?
Yes,
Oh,
Mataji.
I think we have one more question, Mataji. Hemangi Gopeshwari Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Mataji, for this very, very wonderful class, very inspiring, especially the categories of good and bad listeners. My question is that these characteristics of good and bad listeners, is this something can we cultivate to become a good listener, or is this our nature? This is how we are born and designed, but is there a scope for improvement?
Yes, Mataji, this is what we should be cultivating in ourselves. That's why in Shastras, these top categories of good and lower class of listeners has been given. And in Bhagavad Gita also, if we see specifically in chapter 17, when Krishna describes about the three ways, three modes of material nature. So we can see that, listening can be done in three modes of material nature also. So I did not touch upon that point because of the lack of time. I mean, the time was enough, but because of my shortcoming. But there are three modes of material nature in which we can hear. So we can see that all these lower categories somewhat comes into the mode of ignorance or mode of passion. But we, all these four categories, which are good listeners, they come under the category of mode of goodness. So if we can at least raise ourselves for the mode of goodness, that's very important. And then at last, transcend when we hear just to please Krishna, that's transcendental listening. That is another step which we can take. But yes, this is what we all should cultivate within ourselves. Because when we hear about not bad, lower category and higher category of listeners, at that time, we should be understanding where I am falling under which category, and then try to elevate myself. Am I going to the temple just for prasad? I'm just listening here just to talk about the subject matter to others and not following why I'm here. I'm 100% sure that all the listeners in this category, they belong to good listener, categories of good listener, but there are also categories in that also. So yes, we should cultivate. We can change even our nature if we follow the process. Nature can also be changed, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, I have one question, Mataji. You gave the example parrot. Parrot, it can listen and repeat the same thing. Sometimes we can listen, but we are not more expressive, more explanation. How to improve that, Mataji?
So if everybody is different, Mataji, right? Some people, they have the ability to hear and remember, but sometimes we cannot remember what we hear. At that time, in that situation, if we can make the notes, if we can make the pointers which we like in the class, and then go back and hear again, because nowadays, everything is being recorded, right? So here again, and then wherever we are lacking, we can just make pointers, because most of the time in live classes, there is not enough time to write at the same time, especially when you are on a responsible position of coordinating or something. So then you can go back and hear again and make notes, and then you talk about it to someone else. That is going to just give it to you perfectly.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Nice suggestions, Mataji. If nobody have any questions,
We have two more raised hands. Ishopanishad, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Hare
please go ahead,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Jai Mataji. Thank you so very much for sharing the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam and how important it is to engage yourselves in it. I really appreciate you for glorifying that, because it says in the introduction that it is imperative that one learn the Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. So thank you so very much for sharing that and bringing it to the attention again and again and again. Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So the person Bhagavatam here is Shukadev Goswami. He is talking to all of us. Very important point Mataji has raised. That person Bhagavata is the one who imbibe the teachings in his character. What we all are listening from person Bhagavata, Shukadev Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, Krupa Maya Sita Devi Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji.
Krishna Dadat Mataji. Mataji, I am extremely happy that that section was very wonderful, Mataji. And that one thing, we are reading, we are listening, and all the stories and all from Bhagavatam, we are able to remember. But slokas only, we are not able to develop and grasp quickly and remember, Mataji, how to develop that one. Slokas title, no important slokas in Bhagavatam and all, no. That only, Mataji.
So everything comes with the practice. If you practice again and again, then you can do anything. You can, if you have that inclination towards learning shlokas, so every day if you practice, then you will get it. Just now, I just remember my son, he is my younger son, he is 5-year-old, and he learned something in his school, and he keeps telling me, he says, Mummy, my teacher says you can do anything you can put your mind into. So I think that's very beautiful, right? A 5-year-old can teach us that how to attain what we want to attain. We can achieve anything you can put your mind into. And that's what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Keep your mind engaged into me and you will reach to me. So that's how practice.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
And try to understand the meaning also. We have the word-to-word translation by Srila Prabhupada. So if we learn with the meaning, then it will help us to learn more easily.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Some of the Matajis are glorifying you, Mataji.
I'm glorifying all of you. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity once again.
Yeah, if nobody have any questions, we can end the call here, Mataji, with your permission.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for enlightening class today. We are very grateful to you and we look forward to your association again and again in the future. Let's pay our obeisance to Mataji.
कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो
नमः
नमः।
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद
जय
की
जय
जय।
राधे
माधवी
राधे
गौरांगी
राधे
माताजी की
गौरंगा
जय।
आनंद
Nanda.
राधे राधे
गौरंगा जय
राधे
जय
हरि
श्री राधे श्याम
हरि
सबको
बोल
राधे
हरि
राधे
राधे
हरि
हरि
बोल
बोल।
हरि
हरे
बोल
Hare
कृष्णा
हरि बोल
Krishna. Thank you
राधे
everyone
राधे
for
वंदे प्रभु
joining
जी
today's
माता
Srimad
जी
Bhagavatam class.
विनीता
We'll
माता
close
जी
the
राधे
call for
राधे
today.
थैंक यू राधा
Hare
प्राण माता जी
Krishna.
हरे
राधे
कृष्ण
राधे
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare
हरि
Krishna.
Thank you,
राधे
Nagarjit
राधे
Prabhuji,
हरे
for
कृष्ण हरि
joining
बोल प्रभु
every
जी
day and being on video and listening to the class very attentively. Thank you so
हरे
much.
बोल
Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू माता जी
Thank you,
वंडरफुल
everyone.
थैंक यू
Hari Bol.